Week 4, NFL Power Rankings. Let's go. Alright, so I normally make my rankings in my car while I'm on lunch at work, but I'm off of work today. Today, I'm heading out to Arlington to catch game 1 of a doubleheader, see if Aaron Judge can hit number 62. So I'm sitting out in my backyard. So if you hear birds chirping, I think my neighbors are having some kind of construction going on their house. Pay it no mind. Pay attention right here to the facts that I'm fitting to drop. And maybe you'll just learn something. Alright, let's go. Number 32. Washington Lando Calrissians. Trash. Absolute trash. You may know him by the name of Carson Wentz, but I know him by his real name, Rubbish. Trash. Garbage. Ironically, I was looking at my Facebook memories today, and I had a post that I made 3 years ago complaining that people don't understand and don't agree with me when I say that Carson Wentz is overrated. And there was a bunch of comments from Eagles fans talking about how I don't know what I'm talking about. He's really good. He's just got a shit end of a stick. One comment actually said, soon enough, I'll be saying the same thing about Josh Allen. Good call. So anyway, Trash Wentz threw for 170 yards on Sunday. He threw 2 interceptions, and anytime he threw the ball downfield to try and gain some big yardage, he was so off target. It's just disgusting and really sad to watch. Like, I look back and I'm like, hold up, they won a game. They beat the Jaguars, and I'm sitting there wondering, how did that happen? Look, the only bright spot that Washington had on Sunday is those new uniforms that they unveiled. The all black with the yellow lettering, and oh my god, those things were straight. Number 31. Carolina Panthers. It only took 4 games for the boos to start raining down on your boy, Baker Mayfield. Man, I watched a bunch of this game because I had money on it. He had another 6 passes batted down at the line of scrimmage, one of which was intercepted and landed the Cardinals in the red zone to score again. The silver lining to this is that this team is so bad, they're probably going to have a very high pick in the draft next year, and there might be some quarterbacks available for them. Baker needs to go. Matt Rule needs to go. Quite honestly, I'd be okay if this franchise was to go. Move him to San Antonio. They really want a team down here. Number 30. Houston Texans. Okay, so I think Dameon Pierce has arrived. He was the focal point of an offense that worked a furious comeback against the Chargers on Sunday. I really thought they were going to come back and win this game because, you know, the Chargers. But ultimately, wasn't enough. Texans lose again, and now are the only team in the NFL without a win. It's alright. You'll get a win soon, I promise. Number 29. Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, look what happened here. Steelers fans got what they asked for. Kenny Pickett has arrived. Pickett came in and replaced Trubisky in the second half of this game on Sunday. And I'll tell you, there was a lot to unpack after this performance. Kenny Pickett finished 10 of 13 in his first half of football, which is not bad. However, those 3 non-complete passes were actually interceptions. That's not so good. He also had 2 rushing touchdowns and gave the Steelers the first lead of the game against the Jets. He also established and displayed some really good chemistry with fellow rookie wide receiver George Pickens. So while the Steelers were actually handed a loss by the Jets, and technically Kenny Pickett had a bad game, there was definitely a lot of positives to take away from this game. There's definitely some hope moving forward for the Steelers. Kenny Pickett might be it. But next up for Kenny Pickett and the Steelers is the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Have fun with that. Number 28, Chicago Bears. All right, on Sunday against the Giants, the Bears were down 8 points. With 2 minutes remaining, Justin Fields was going to get an opportunity to lead his team down the field for a game-tying touchdown. This is what the NFL is all about. This is what turns young quarterbacks into good quarterbacks. All they need is that opportunity, and here it was for the Bears, for Justin Fields on Sunday. Instead, what really happened was the Bears muffed the punt and gave the ball right back to the Giants. Now, I don't want to talk bad about the Bears, okay? I have some friends that are Bears fans that are real sensitive and don't like my videos because I'm so mean to the Bears. Look, this video should be a safe place for you, okay? Tell me and those toxic people to just leave you alone. Stop bullying me. Okay, the Bears, yes, they lost the game, but they tried their best, right? They played like a team. Participation trophies for everyone. All those people that want to talk bad about the Bears, they're just mean people and they should be canceled. Good job, Chicago Bears. You and your fans are just Number 27, Indianapolis Colts. Jesus. Matt Ryan, 2 more fumbles. The first of which was on the opening drive of the game. Add an interception to his stat line, and yet another week goes by where the Colts have a quarterback that probably isn't it. Jonathan Taylor, man, he continues to disappoint Colts fans and fantasy owners. This past Sunday against the Titans, he had one of his worst performances of his fucking career. Like, I don't know what's going on in Indy. I think it's time for a change. I think they need a QB change. I think they need a head coach change. And yet they're only a half game out of first place. It's early. Who knows? Number 26, Detroit Lions. All right, so Lions fans coming into this game, you kind of had to have your doubts. You were missing a lot of key playmakers on offense. No DeAndre Swift, no Amon-Ra St. Brown, no DJ Chark. But all Jared Goff did was say, fuck you. He threw for almost 400 yards to who? I don't know who. Who? And the Lions scored 45 fucking points. Yes, they lost, I get it. But they scored 45 fucking points with no one on offense. That's the NFL for you. Fun fact about this game, the final score of 48-45 was the first of its kind ever in the history of the NFL. Now, I understand, like, when a score ends like 11-10, you can understand that that's, like, you know, difficult. But 48-45 are pretty common scores. I'm surprised that this has never happened. Number 25, New Orleans Saints. Cheerio! Now, I don't think I was really prepared to deal with the drama of this game at the end of this game so early in the morning, because, you know, it was across the pond in London. The Saints really were only in this game because the Vikings didn't want to put it away. Andy Dalton, playing for Jameis Winston, didn't exactly light it up, but the Saints were in the game the entire game. With a chance to tie the game and send the game to overtime, Will Lutz lined up for a 61-yard kick, and it all gone pear-shaped from there. A dodgy double doink off the upright and crossbar sent the chance of a win all to pot. Rubbish, isn't it? Number 24, Las Vegas Raiders. I cannot stand Josh McDaniels. I don't think he's a good head coach. And some Raiders fans that I know agree. I don't like the Raiders' offensive scheme. I get it. Woo, you have Devontae Adams. Woo, yeah. But John, you're forgetting. Devontae Adams and Derek Carr, they were teammates in college. Oh. Woo, college teammate. Forcing the ball into Devontae Adams is getting fucking old and hard to watch. I don't want to watch Raider games anymore. Adams had another 13 targets this week, running his 4-week total up to 1,659 fucking targets. The reason why the Raiders got the first win of the season this week against the fucking Broncos is not because of Devontae Adams from Derek Carr. It's because they finally got fucking Josh Jacobs involved in the offense. And credit is due to Max Crosby on that defensive line. The dude lived in the backfield causing chaos for Russell Wilson all fucking game. But seriously, I hate the Raiders. I just kidding. Isn't it time for them to move back to Oakland? Number 23. New Jersey Jets. Zach Wilson returned for the Jets when they took on the Steelers on Sunday. And for the first 3 quarters of this game, dude looked lost. Dude was looking around like he was standing around a bunch of 5'8" motherfuckers. But I suppose it's how you finish the game that matters, correct? And in the fourth quarter, the little elf, Zach Wilson, he led 2 different 70-plus yard touchdown drives. And he erased the 10-point deficit in doing so. Jets defense played really well. They collected 4 interceptions, 3 sacks, and a total of 9 pass deflections in the secondary. Now that's impressive against the likes of a Mitch Trubisky and a Kenny Pickett who's never played a game in the NFL yet. Now, in all seriousness, the Jets get a nice win, move to 2-2, tied with the Patriots at 2-2, 1 game behind the Dolphins and Bills in the East. Not bad for a JV team hanging with the big boys, huh? My bad, George. I did what I could. Number 22, Arizona Cardinals. Once again, Cardinals do not show up for the first half of a football game and then come alive for the second half. This week, it was the defense that stepped up. They harassed Baker Mayfield all game long. Batted passes after batted passes, one leading to an interception. Cardinals pull out a very ugly win against a very ugly team because they themselves are a very ugly team. Yeah. Number 21, Cleveland Browns. The Browns were missing 3 out of 4 of their starting defensive line on Sunday. And perhaps, maybe that's the reason why they weren't able to stop the Falcons' run. But the Browns, man, they made some really bad plays on offense against a really bad Falcons defense. The Browns are a run-first team. I think everyone in the NFL world knows that. But for some reason, the Browns decided to leave the game up to the arm of Jacoby Brissett. That's not an ideal situation. I'm a little stumped by it, but who cares? It's the Browns. Number 20, Seattle Seahawks. Geno Smith is cooking. Geno Smith, who currently has better numbers than Russell Wilson does in Denver, has this Seahawks offense humming like a bird. He's putting up some big numbers. You know who else looks good? Rashad Penny. My dude had over 150 yards rushing, including a very big couple of runs late in the game to seal the game. Speaking of sealing things, did you see what happened to DK? Dude had to take a shit, and he didn't want to walk to the locker room. One, because it was far, and two, because his clenched ass cheeks wouldn't be a good look for him. So he rode on the back of the cart, and I'm assuming that the back of the cart was going to seal his ass cheeks. I just picture him waddling, looking like Jalen Waddle out there after he celebrates a touchdown. Anyway, the Seahawks offense continues to churn along, but that defense has some concerns. They gave up 45 points to a Detroit Lions team who had no playmakers. Number 19, Tennessee Titans. I apologize, my neighbor decided that this was a good time to start mowing his lawn. Don't people work around here? Alright, so the 2020 rushing title winner, Derrick Henry, goes up against the 2021 rushing title winner, Jonathan Taylor. And it was Derrick Henry that came out victorious. For the first time all year, Derrick Henry goes over 100 yards rushing. And the Titans get a very much needed win over a division foe. There really wasn't a lot of excitement in this game. I was a little bored watching the recap. But in a nutshell, it kind of sums up the AFC South this year, which, by the way, keeps spiraling downwards in this abyss of shit. Number 18, New England Patriots. 20 years from now, we're going to be debating, was it Bill Belichick or was it Bailey Zappi? I guess we'll need Zappi to go to the fucking New Orleans Saints or something for a season or two, win the Super Bowl there, and we'll know that it was him. With Mac Jones injured, Brian Hoyer got to start for the Patriots and then got hurt. Enter Zappi. Look, he played well enough. Well enough to take the Packers to overtime. Ultimately, the Patriots get the loss. But, they hung with the big boy, right? All this game told me is that my criticisms of Mac Jones are justified. The dude sucks. Number 17, Jacksonville Jaguars. Alright, truth be told, the Jaguars won 2 impressive games the last 2 weeks. And a significant amount of people, because of those 2 games, hopped right back on Trevor Lawrence's nutsack. I'm wondering if those same people are still clinging to those. Granted, the Jaguars played a really good Eagles defense, but Trevor Lawrence had 4 fumbles lost and an interception to boot. It was actually kind of crazy because the Jaguars hopped out to a 14-0 lead courtesy of a pick 6, but it was all downhill from there. I remember when the score was 14-0, I'm watching the Bills game, and along the bottom line, it showed the stats, and it showed that Trevor Lawrence had 75 yards passing. And I was like, damn, that's not bad for the first quarter. So an hour and a half later, it's now the third quarter, and the stat line comes along, and Trevor Lawrence still has 75 yards passing. That's the Trevor Lawrence we all know and love, at least I know and love. The Jaguars come crashing back down to earth, right where they belong. And we'll continue this conversation next week when Trevor Lawrence looks like ass again. Number 16, Atlanta Falcons. Alright, the Falcons versus the Browns. Now, if I told you one of these teams dominated the run game, your answer would probably be the Browns, am I right? You'd be wrong. So it seemed like the Browns defensively were prepared for Cordero Patterson. I can never say his name. But the Falcons switched it up and started running 2 running backs whom I've never heard of. They run the ball so effectively that they basically abandoned the pass game. At one point, the Falcons ran 14 straight run plays. It's 2022. Who does that? And the only reason why they broke that streak was because on the goal line, Marcus Mariota mishandled the snap and had to throw it away. It would have been at least 15 in a row. The Falcons literally beat the Browns at their own fucking game. Gotta win, maybe get some respect that they deserve because they're a better team than people think. Number 15, Denver Broncos. Javonte Williams gets hurt, out for the year. Melvin Gordon comes in, fumbleitis. Mike Boone? Who? Exactly. He came in and showed why he isn't in the normal running back rotation. And once again, Russell Wilson looks terrible in the second half. The Broncos got beat, pretty handedly, by a team who hadn't won a game yet. I think it's officially time for people to hop off that Russell Wilson nutsack train. Maybe it's about time to start talking about what a bust this team is, and probably will continue to be for the rest of the year. Number 14, Los Angeles Rams. Do you guys remember the Super Bowl last year? Yeah, you do. You remember. Los Angeles Rams, Cincinnati Bengals. No, really? You don't remember? How do you not? Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre did the halftime? There you go. Now you remember. Listen, I'll be honest. Had I not watched that game with my eyes, I would have never have guessed that this team, the Los Angeles Rams team that I watched last night, actually won a Super Bowl. They look beyond terrible. And here I was thinking that it was the Bengals that made the Super Bowl and look terrible. They look better than the Rams. Matthew Stafford just doesn't like throwing the ball to anybody but Cooper Kupp or the other team. Check this stat out, because Rams fans were super excited when they got Allen Robinson on their squad. For the season, Allen Robinson has 9 catches for 95 yards in 4 games. Now, just to compare that, Cooper Rush, his teammate, is averaging 10.5 catches per game and 100.5 yards per game. If that isn't concerning, I don't know what is. Another cause of concern is their run game. I mean, what the hell's going on there? Yet another loss to the Niners, this time on Monday Night Football for everyone to see. I keep being told not to sleep on the Rams. I'm feeling really sleepy. I'll see you guys later. Number 13, Cincinnati Bengals. Do you guys remember the Super Bowl last year? Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre? I'm just kidding. Thursday Night Football against the Dolphins. This was a nice win for the Bengals. And those iced out uniforms were ridiculous. Joe Burrow had a couple of nice plays that were very reminiscent to his magical season last year, but he's still not back 100%. You gotta remember he missed a lot of training camp because of his surgery. I feel like he's a few weeks behind. Perhaps, just maybe, the Bengals rise back up and get back into the thick of things in the AFC. This might have been their first step. Number 12, New Jersey Giants. Saquon Barkley continues to run the ball effectively, and because of his success, head coach Brian Daboll, well, he's able to implement these design runs for his quarterback, Daniel Jones, and have those run plays be successful. Maybe this is why people are saying that Josh Allen's just as good as Daniel Jones. They're apparently the same player. Daniel Jones rushed in the only 2 touchdowns of this game against the Bears. The Giants' rushing yards tripled their passing yards in this game. Like, that's a crazy-ass stat for 2022. Late in the game, Daniel Jones goes out with an ankle injury. Insert Tyrod Taylor, another ex-Buffalo Bill, and then he left with a concussion. Thanks, Tua. For the remainder of the game, instead of them going to their third-string quarterback, who I believe is like Daniel Vogelback of the New York Mets, they decided to just go with the Wildcat formation and even use Daniel Jones as a decoy. Giants get the win over the Bears, move to 3-1, and has everyone scratching their heads about this team. Number 11, Minnesota Vikings. Yo, the Vikings don't enjoy making things easy. It seems like everything they do is difficult. On Sunday in London... It's with the double doinks. On Sunday in London, they tried everything in their power to hand this game to the Saints. But thankfully for the Vikings, Saints didn't want that win either. Vikings moved to 3-1, and I would say they'd be the worst 3-1 team in the league, but I think the Giants are a little worse. Number 10, Los Angeles Chargers. Is anyone else getting really fucking tired of ESPN force-feeding Justin Herbert into our lives? I saw a stat that ESPN provided the other day that just blew my mind. Justin Herbert is the youngest player to throw a 24-yard pass at 3:15 p.m. with 8 minutes and 37 seconds left in the second quarter, while his teammate was eating popcorn on the sideline during a lunar eclipse within 26 minutes of the UFO sighting, while it's 87 degrees outside in Arizona. So the good news for Chargers fans, all 16 of you, is that Justin Herbert looked healthy. The bad news for you same Chargers fans is that your team really needs to start learning how to close out games. It seems every single week they let their opponents storm back. Whether they come back and win or the Chargers hold on and win the game, they still let them storm back in the second half. They ended up beating the Texans despite that comeback in the second half, but I really don't have a lot of faith in this team. I mean, they bulked up their defense there in the offseason, and honestly, what has that done for them? I'm so sick of the Chargers. I'm so sick of hearing about Justin Herbert. Number 9, San Francisco 49ers. Fucking flies. I'm not doing this outdoors anymore. Yo, the Niners defense looked amazing last night. We all know that Jimmy G is like the definition of game manager. He's never going to get voted to the Pro Bowl. But if that defense keeps playing the way it's playing, does it really matter? And honestly, on offense, it almost seems like all he really needs to do is toss the ball in the direction of Deebo Samuel, And that, I mean, what else do you need to do? Just watch the show. This was a huge win for the Niners last night. Cannot credit that defense enough. And now every team in the NFC West is tied at 2-2. That is some strange shit. It's going to be fun to watch. Number 8, Miami Dolphins. We all know, I know, you know, every NFL fan knows out there that Tua had no business playing in that game Thursday night. He had no business coming back into the game in week 3 against the Bills. That hit that he took on Thursday Night Football against the Bengals was honestly, it was really hard to watch. I wish it hadn't happened, but it did. That being said, after beating the Bills in week 3, the Dolphins were deemed by many experts as the best team in football. 4 days later, they get beat by the struggling Bengals. Pretty handedly. Now, I don't hate on the Dolphins. They are a division rival. They were the first rival for me as a Bills fan when I was a kid. Jim Kelly versus Dan Marino. I hated them back in the day. I don't hate them now. But what I do hate are some Dolphins fans. Last week, after beating the Bills, all you heard was, I don't care about injuries. You can't blame injuries in this league. Oh, your secondary had 2 practice squad players in it? It sounds like an excuse to me. Suck it up. Take your loss. You lost. We won. And stop blaming the heat. Yes, it was hot. Your players were dropping like flies. But stop making excuses. Take your loss. Suck it up. Shut up. Now, those same Dolphins fans are literally saying that they lost to the Bengals because Tua got hurt. Are you blaming injuries? Those same Dolphins fans are saying they lost to the Bengals because only 4 days ago they had to play in the scorching heat of Miami. Are you making more excuses? I hate liars. I hate thieves. But there's nothing that I hate more than a hypocrite. You can't sit there and call somebody out for doing something and then the following week, 4 days later, do the exact same thing because it fits your narrative. Take your loss. Shut up. Move on. Bring on Teddy Two Gloves. We'll see you. Number 7, Tampa Bay Bucks. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones all returned to the lineup for Tom Brady just in time for the Bucks to take on the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Not for nothing, but they actually look kind of good. They put up 31 points. And with that Bucks defense, 31 points should be more than enough to beat any team in this league because that Bucks defense is legit. Or not. Now, we all know about Hurricane Ian came in and absolutely destroyed Florida. This was a struggle for the Bucks all week long, not practicing, helping out around their community. Tom Brady clearly says that this did not affect the game plan, did not affect the player. I find that hard to believe. A defense as good as the Bucks gave up 41 points. It's hard to agree that they weren't affected. I believe that this loss was just a circumstantial loss, and I think the Bucks will be right back on track next week. Number 6, Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers looked like straight ass in the first half of this game. He had 4 completions for 44 yards and a pick 6 against the Patriots. It's not very Aaron Rodgers-like. In the second half, though, it was a little bit of a different story. Not only did he come alive, but he was making beautiful passes, like gorgeous passes. This game had the highest spread of all the games at 9.5. The Packers were supposed to destroy the Patriots. Instead, they go to overtime. The Packers escape with a win in overtime, but this game should not have been this close. There's some concerns there for the Packers. Number 5, Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson is really, really good. I do think it's time to stop with the comments calling him a running back. Now, I've never called him a running back, but I did criticize his arm. I didn't think he was like a throwing quarterback. He's proving us all wrong this year because he looks good. Against the Bills this past Sunday, he looked amazing in the first half. And it's really frustrating to watch, right? Because he extends plays. He takes off running on 3rd down to get a first down, a huge first down to extend a drive. He breaks tackles and completes passes downfield. And I'm like, how do you let that happen? And then I'm like, this is what it feels like for other teams to be playing and watching against the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen. So I kind of have to respect it, you know? Lamar did not play bad in the second half. It was a rainy day in Baltimore. The conditions were a little crazy and slippery. I think the Ravens lost this game to the Bills because of bad play calls and bad decisions by head coach John Harbaugh. But Lamar continues to rise his stock. Ravens fall to 2-2, but they're still one of the better teams in the AFC. Number 4, Dallas Cowboys. Did you know that there are 2 undefeated teams left in the NFL? Of course, you've got the Eagles at 4-0, and you've got a Cooper Rush-led Dallas Cowboy team at 3-0. Who would have thought this, honestly? I really hope that the Cowboys continue to win games because I really want to see what they do when Dak Prescott is eligible to come back. Could you imagine the pressure? You're going to put Dak back in. The pressure is on him to win and continue this winning streak. Could you imagine Dak comes back and loses the first game to, like, Washington? That would be, like, the greatest storyline ever. I don't know Cooper Rush's contract details, but if he's going to leave the Cowboys, I guarantee you he's going to be like the next Matt Flynn. But as well as Cooper Rush is playing, he's managing the games, he's putting the Cowboys in a position to win the game. It's the defense that's leading this team right now. The Cowboys are number 4 in my rankings because their defense is absolutely sick. We all know it, we all see it. But now, the true test comes for Cooper Rush, for that defense. Their next 2 games are on the road at Los Angeles to play the Rams and at Philly to take on those Eagles. Cannot wait to see how this unfolds. Number 3, Buffalo Bills. Halfway through the second quarter of this game on Sunday against the Ravens, I was in my feelings hard. Bills look like shit early on in this game. A tipped pass for an interception on the opening drive led to a Ravens very quick touchdown, followed by 3 more possessions with 3 more scores, so the Ravens scored on their first 4 possessions. This is not Buffalo Bills defense like. The game had just started and they were already down 20-3. But right before half, something happened. I don't even know what happened. But the Bills defense finally stopped the drive, forced the punt, got the ball back, marched it 76 yards down the field for a touchdown, and made the score 20-10. They went into halftime down by 10. But the eye test of this game looked like they were down by 30. Then the second half came, and the Bills looked like the Bills. They ultimately tied up the game and benefited from a really questionable call by John Harbaugh going for it on 4th down instead of kicking a field goal. The Bills got the ball back still tied, were able to march down the field, take their time doing so, and kick a game winner as time expired. A couple of fun facts. This game snapped an 0-for-7 streak for the Buffalo Bills in 1-score games. This was the biggest comeback of Josh Allen's career, 17 points. But my favorite fun fact stat I want to share right now. The Bills have played 4 games. In week 3, they gave up a touchdown in the 4th quarter to the Dolphins. That was the touchdown that allowed the Dolphins to take the lead. That was literally the only points the Buffalo Bills have allowed in the second half of a game all year. They've allowed 7 points in the second half. Now, if that's not closing out a game on defense, I don't know what is. Number 2, Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles have this man on their team. His name is Hassan Reddick. You may have heard of him. My dude forced 2 fumbles and recovered 2 other ones in the game against the Jaguars. This Eagles defense is something special for sure. And on a rainy day in Philly, they showed it. Offensively, it's all about Jalen Hurts, right? It's all about Jalen Hurts throwing the ball to A.J. Brown. But on this rainy day, it was all about Miles Sanders. He led the ground game, controlled the clock, gave the Eagles a win over a Jaguars team after they spotted them 14 points early on. The Eagles remain the only undefeated team in football, win their 4th straight of the year, but I feel like it's worth noting that those 4 wins came against the Lions, Vikings, Commanders, and Jaguars. I really want to see the Eagles play better teams to see what they really are. Are they as good as everybody thinks? Number 1, Kansas City Chiefs. Did you watch that game Sunday night? Any given Sunday, I get it, right? Teams play good one week, play terrible the next. It's all about matchups, it's all about coaching, it's all about preparation, it's about conditions on the field. Everything changes from week to week, so a team can look great one week, terrible another, and it's not weird. But I'm here to tell you, if the Chiefs could bottle the way they looked this past Sunday night, they would literally never lose a game. Ever. They put up 41 points on Tampa Bay's defense, which is one of the elite defenses in football. Now maybe, just maybe, it was the lingering effect of the Chiefs playing in the place where they got their dicks rubbed in the dirt in front of the entire world to watch when the Bucs beat them in the Super Bowl. Just a bit of a chip on your shoulder. Maybe, who knows? Regardless, the Chiefs looked fucking fantastic. They're number 1 in my rankings. They are the best team in football that I can see right now. And as I said a few weeks ago, it looks like they are on a collision course to meet with the Buffalo Bills in 2 weeks. Ooh, to settle the fact for good and all to see who the best team in the AFC is. And I cannot fucking wait. I cannot wait. Thanks for watching. I'm heading inside. It's 90 fucking degrees out here. Flies buzzing everywhere. I'm doing these in my car moving forward. I should have just done it in my driveway this morning. See you next week, bitches.